I think what you stated earlier is wrong. The late United States Senator Kaka helped to enact the Hawaiian Homeland and Recovery Act.
Correct.
So Title 43 has been in existence since 1995.
The type, let me just say, the type of appraisal that's required, and the appraisal requirements, however, just came about as the recent DOI rules went into effect no more than 5 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reading it right here, Section 205 of land exchanges, which requires any land exchange of lands that are part of the Hawaiian Homes beneficiary inventory must be approved by the Secretary of the Interior.
That is correct.
What I'm saying, Chair Ayla, is that we need to look into this, because I do not believe the state of Hawaii, through Act 14, not to mention we never even did a land exchange. I don't know if we did beneficiary consultation. I don't know if we did an appraisal on the property. But we never even satisfied that obligation of doing a land exchange. Show me what piece of land came back into the trust in return for the Mauna Kea access right.
I've admitted to you that there is no evidence of any land exchange right now. Because what I'm being advised is Act 14, as it was passed by the state legislature, concluded the negotiations. Now, again, I'll go back to, you have the same attorneys that we have. I'm getting advice from them that this is concluded. I just have to finish the negotiations. I'm picking this up from previous chairs who hasn't done this.
And I can share them with you, documentation from Hawaiian Homes Commission meetings in 1994 that talked about this.
Absolutely.
Is there a representative from the Attorney General's office here?
Yes.
Can you please come up? Because I believe the Mauna Kea Access Road is part of the Hawaiian Homes Land Trust and still remains as part of the land trust. And any MOU, any transfer, we should look into that.
Alo mai kako, o Ryan Kanako Ole, Deputy Attorney General.
Thanks, Ryan. Act 14 specifically called for a land exchange as a way to compensate for all roads and highways legally or illegally taken by the territory of Hawaii or the state of Hawaii. It is my understanding that that land exchange per Act 14, that is from 1995, 22, 23 years ago, has never occurred.
That's correct.
How could we then say that the state of Hawaii is not in breach of Act 14 by transferring the Mauna Kea Access Road to the Department of Transportation?
I think we have to step back and make a distinction between the road as an improvement and or piece of infrastructure, sort of like a power line or a water line, and the actual fee to the road. The Department of Hawaiian Homelands owns the fee to the road. Now, when we're talking about the roadway itself, I think the best way to do this, to talk about this issue, is by illustration with another type of infrastructure. Let's call it a water line.
Speak up.
Wait, just before you go on, you just said the Hawaiian Homelands owns a fee to the road.
The fee underneath the road.
Underneath the road.
Yeah, the fee, but the roadway itself is not the same as the fee.
But we own the land.
Correct.
What's the difference?
Okay, so let me.
I mean, when you have a beneficiary as defined by the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act of 1920 sitting on the Mauna Kea Access Road, what does not give them the right to be there? If they are the beneficiaries of the trust, and you just said it's still in your land inventory.
Now, going back to the distinction between the roads, the road itself, and the control of the road itself, and the fee underneath. And I'm going to go back to the illustration of a water line, because I think that's probably the best illustration. Let's say if I were a property owner and my neighbor or somebody ran their water line encroaching into my property. Do I control the water line, or do I control the use of the land, my land? And as a landowner, if that line crossed over into my property, if it was an encroachment, I have two options. One, I could demand compensation for the use of my land, or two, I could get the owner of that line to move it, either involuntarily or voluntarily. The option that was chosen by not just the Hawaiian Homes Commission in 1994, but by the state legislature, was by way of compensation, not by forcing the move. So that option is the compensation is the land exchange.
If what you said is true, that the land exchange has never occurred, then without that compliance of Act 14, the state of Hawaii cannot claim title to the Mauna Kea Access Road. That road belongs to the beneficiaries, the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act. Now, do you have a Attorney General written opinion on what you said in terms of the road, or is that just a verbal?
It's verbal.
Okay. But this is the most important road right now in the state of Hawaii, and arguably throughout the world, is the Mauna Kea Access Road. So let's work together to try and figure this out. We'll bring the information that our staff has found. I believe the Attorney General, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But I
Sure.
believe at the end of the day, we're going to determine that a land exchange has never occurred, that the state of Hawaii has not fulfilled its obligations by Act 14. We can look into whether or not the Department of Interior needs to sign off on that, whether appropriate appraisal was done, beneficiary consultation, proper fair market value for a land exchange, and if it needs to be approved by the Department of Interior. And if not, then at the end of the day, it's still part of your inventory, and Native Hawaiians still have a right to be on that road.
It would still be a Department of Transportation. It's a public highway,
Yes.
is my understanding. That even if the road belonged to us, because of what's the legal term? Use.
Control.
No. When you use something for a long period of time.
Oh,
Adverse possession?
no, yeah, that's not the issue.
There's actually a legal term for that. That it's been used since the 1960s or 70s.